All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're digging into this incredible, high-stakes mystery from an ancient text. It's the story of a powerful king, a dream he just couldn't remember, and a secret that was set to change the course of history.
So let's start with this question, because it's a big one. What if a forgotten dream could actually predict the fall of empires? I mean, just imagine for a second. A dream so important that just forgetting it sends an entire kingdom into a panic. Well, that's exactly the kind of story we're exploring.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a king and a completely terrifying, absolutely impossible demand. This is really where all the life or death drama begins. So picture this. We're in ancient Babylon, way back in 603 BC, at the absolute height of its power. King Nebuchadnezzar, probably the most powerful man on the planet, wakes up from a deeply troubling dream. But the details are just gone. Now, this is where things get really serious. According to the source material, Eastern superstition back then taught that if you forgot a dream, it meant your personal god was furious with you. So for the king, this isn't just frustrating, it's a terrifying omen.
And yeah, he does not handle this well at all. He calls in his wise men and gives them this insane task. Tell me what I dreamed, and then tell me what it means. The stakes? Well, they were literally life and death. Failure meant being cut to pieces. This wasn't just a request, it was a demand that completely defied all logic.
Now you'd think, with the best minds in the entire empire at his disposal, this would be solvable, right? Well, as we're about to see, all that worldly wisdom was about to hit a massive brick wall.
So who exactly did he call in? We're talking about the A-list of ancient knowledge. You had magicians, who were these soothsayer priests. You had conjurers or enchanters. You had sorcerers who worked with magical potions. And then the Chaldeans, the master astrologers who read the stars. He basically summoned every expert he had.
But they all hit a dead end. Why? Well, according to our source, their entire system relied on these huge dream manuals. They could look up symbols and find parallels, but they had to know the dream first. No one had ever been asked to pull a dream out of someone else's head. It was unprecedented. It was just impossible.
So with the experts facing execution and the king in a rage, a new figure enters the story. And his approach to this impossible problem is completely different.
This is Daniel, and you can immediately see the contrast here. Instead of panicking, he shows this incredible calm and tact. He doesn't claim to have the answer right away, but he asks for time. And then, and this is the most important part, he doesn't consult some ancient manual. He gets his friends together to pray for divine intervention. It's a total shift in strategy, from human knowledge to divine revelation. And, according to the narrative, that prayer is answered. The source says that the secret of the king's dream is revealed to Daniel in a night vision. He gets the answer not from his own expertise, but from a source beyond himself. So, Daniel is brought before the furious king, and instead of making excuses, he just starts to describe the forgotten dream. He starts at the top, painting this picture of a magnificent, brilliant, dazzling statue with a head made of pure gold.
You can just imagine the king listening, completely stunned as Daniel continues down the statue. Below that golden head, he reveals the next part, a chest and arms forged from silver. Then, he describes the statue's midsection. Its belly and its thighs were made not of gold or silver, but of shimmering bronze. You can start to see a pattern here. Each section is a different metal, and each one is getting progressively less valuable. Finally, he gets to the bottom. The legs are strong, made of iron, but the feet are this strange, unstable mixture of that same iron and brittle baked clay. So this magnificent statue is standing on a foundation that's fundamentally weak and divided.
And then comes the dream's dramatic finale. A huge rock, which the text is super careful to note was not cut by human hands, suddenly appears. It hurtles forward and smashes into the statue's weakest point, its feet of iron and clay, and the entire magnificent structure just collapses into dust.
So, the king now knows Daniel has seen his dream, the mystery solved. But what does it all mean? This is where the story shifts from a simple mystery to a breathtaking prophecy of world history.
And here is the incredible interpretation. According to the source, each part of that statue represents a major world empire destined to rise and fall one after another. The golden head? That's Nebuchadnezzar's own Babylonian empire. The silver represents the Medo-Persian empire that would follow. The bronze is the Grecian empire of Alexander the Great. And finally, the iron legs and brittle feet represent the Roman Empire.
The design of the statue itself is symbolic.
The source material points out that it's top-heavy and inherently unstable, which is a perfect metaphor for these man-made kingdoms, right? They look so powerful and impressive on the surface, but ultimately they're fragile and destined to fall.
But what about that final dramatic element? That rock that destroyed everything? Well, according to the source, this is the most important part of the entire vision.
The contrast here is just so stark. On one side, you have the statue, representing human empires. It's rigid, motionless, artificial, a product of human hands. But the stone, on the other hand, is described as a living stone. It's mobile, it's powerful, and it is explicitly not made by human hands. And while the statue is temporary, the stone grows into a mountain that fills the entire earth.
So what is this stone? The source interprets it as a divine kingdom, a kingdom that would be established during the era of that fourth empire, Rome. It would start in a weaker part of that empire, in Palestine, right where the feet were. And unlike the other kingdoms, this one would never be destroyed. It would grow to last forever.
And just think about it. All of this, the succession of 4 world empires and the arrival of a 5th eternal one, is contained in one dream. It's presented as a complete roadmap for history, all revealed in a single night.
Which leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. This story presents a huge contrast between two types of power, the glittering, top-heavy power of man and something else, a power that's described as living, growing, and eternal. So the question to reflect on is this. According to this ancient text, what is the fundamental difference between a power that shatters and a power that endures? What makes a kingdom truly last forever?